As you know, I have been in DC for the last 2 days, and the primary purpose the primary purpose of my visit was to attend the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting. And I obviously, in addition to the meeting itself, I met bilaterally with my counterparts, Secretary Rubio, Foreign Minister Penny Wong, and Foreign Minister Takeshi Iwaya. I also had separate meetings with the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and with the Secretary of Energy, Chris Wright, yesterday. So let me start with the Quad, because as I said, that was the main purpose. Now, the meeting which we had was a much longer and a much more detailed one than we had in January, which actually happened to be the first day that Secretary Rubio had taken office. And all the Quad ministers, I think we all agreed strongly that our goal in the Quad was to strengthen strategic stability in the Indo-Pacific. And this meeting, the discussions were largely devoted to enhancing delivery on various initiatives and projects. As is the practice on such occasions, we had a very open, very freewheeling discussion on regional issues of the Indo-Pacific. A lot of that was a granular analysis of different situations, different issues of the Indo-Pacific itself. But again, in the light of recent developments, it was natural that we also spend some time discussing the Israel-Iran conflict, also what the US had done in Iran. Now, while our meeting was taking place, there was in parallel a Quad business roundtable on critical minerals, and there were companies from all the four Quad countries which were present at that roundtable. Now, in terms of Quad, of course, in its current incarnation, it's been there since 2017. It has grown steadily. All of you are aware of it. But I just want to flag some recent developments, because people often ask, saying, okay, how is it deepening? How is it progressing? So let me highlight some of them. One, we launched the Quad Critical Minerals Initiative, and this would be focused particularly on the mineral recovery, which is very important for all of us. Second, there's the Quad Indo-Pacific Logistics Network. That was launched earlier in the year, and we decided it will hold its field training exercise, first field training exercise, fairly soon. It had held its tabletop exercise in May. Then there is the Quad at Sea Ship Observer Mission. This involves our Coast Guards, and that's recently launched from Palau to Guam. So we recognize that as an important step in Coast Guard cooperation. Then there is a maritime legal dialogue at the expert level, which will be held in India, right?
It is virtual, sir.
Achha, it's virtual, okay, in later this month. Then we took some steps to expand the Indo-Pacific Partnership on Maritime Domain Awareness through our Gurugram Fusion Center. Also a Maitri workshop, which will allow us to assess capability gaps and build maritime capacity. There will be a Quad Ports of the Future Partnership Conference, which will focus on resilient ports and shipbuilding. And of course, a Quad partnership on cable connectivity and resilience. It will hold a conference on undersea cables. So as you can see, the Quad members are all, fundamentally maritime nations. A lot of what brings us together, the Indo-Pacific, is the maritime facet of our capabilities, and most of what you can see as steps of advancement are in the maritime area. Now, from this meeting, if I have 3 or 4 takeaways, I would say one, quite clearly, because as I said, this was a really detailed Quad meeting we were doing under Trump 2.0 administration. There was a very clear affirmation of the deepening commitment of all members to the Quad. Second, this goal of strategic stability that I spoke about, obviously it's expressed through various initiatives and cooperative endeavors. And what that essentially means is we are discussing how do we build our own capabilities and those of others through cooperation, and how do we mitigate vulnerabilities. That if there are vulnerabilities of various kinds for various nations, over dependence or reliance, over reliance in a way, then what is it we can do with each other to address those gaps and make that less of a problem. The Quad architecture has been, because Quad has grown in the last 8 years in a sort of very organic fashion. So every time there's a meeting, there are new ideas, something is set up, there's a discussion, some project is done, some new cooperation is started. So the feeling was, look, it's got a bit messy, so let's streamline it into 4 clear streams. And those 4 clear streams were maritime and transnational security, economic prosperity and security, critical and emerging technologies, and humanitarian assistance and I think emergency response. We also expect to hold the Quad summit in India later this year, and we had a useful discussion about preparing for that. There was, we tabled some ideas, so did others. We had a discussion. Obviously, those ideas have to take form before I'm in a position to share that with you. So that was, the sum and substance of what happened on the Quad side. In terms of my bilateral meetings, I had a good session with Secretary Rubio, and we essentially did a stock taking of the last 6 months, and what do we do to go, look ahead. And this included a discussion on trade and investment, on technology, on defense and security, on energy, and on mobility. Now, defense and energy are 2 subjects where, particularly with the US, I think they're substantive enough to warrant a separate meeting with their secretaries, which is why I had a meeting with Secretary Hexet and with Secretary Pratt. I also had very useful conversations with my other 2 counterparts, Penny Wong of Australia and Takeshi Iwaya of Japan. In both cases, obviously, whatever are the particular bilateral issues in those relationships were the subject of our discussions. We talked about visits which were due on either side, preparing for the meetings of our Prime Minister, which are also impending. So overall, I would say, for me, it was a very productive day yesterday, and for in terms of the evolution of Quad, I think it was again a step forward. Not just, I would say, in terms of a sort of another meeting of the Quad, but in many ways it was a sort of a house cleaning and a way of making it more efficient. There was we were self-auditing ourselves and saying, okay, how do we deliver better? How do we make it more efficient? So that's the spirit really in which we approached this particular.